Hi guys, I'm Crystal. I'm from Lone Oak, Arkansas. I'm 26 years old. I farm in Pulaski County right next to the Arkansas River. I have a child that's 4 years old, a little boy named Bryson. I started with a partnership with my parents in 2009, and then in 2014 my dad decided he'd kick me out of the nest and I'd go on my own. So now I'm out on my own and I farm 1,500 acres and rice, corn, soybeans, and wheat. GPS, everybody knows about that. We do have used GPS on our tractors. We have case guidance systems, and we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for me, because my dad does not believe in it. He's old school. He wants to drive that tractor, and he don't use it still to this day, even though it saves us money. And he wants me to do the yield mapping and use the yield monitors on the combines, but he don't do it. I have to do it. And then whenever we get ready to plant corn, we go out, after we cut the crop, we go out there and we put chicken litter out, and then we reheap our beds and we let it lay there all winter. And then we'll come back in late winter, early spring, and with a burn down herbicide and burn down all those winter weeds. And it minimizes trips across the field. We plant on 12 row, 30-inch rows. Variety is selected based on research of yield and diseases. We usually plant a triple stack Pioneer, and we use a Pioneer seed treatment. Fertility. We put out chicken litter at 1 ton to the acre, and then our soil samples determine if additional P and K is needed. Our litter sample determines what the quality of litter is. And then when we go to bed the ground right in front of the planter, we put out 150 pounds of urea with agrotane on it. And then whenever the corn gets in the 6th leaf stage, we put 150 pounds of urea and 100 pounds of ammonium sulfate. And then when the tassel starts to shoot, we put 100 pounds of urea out. Weed control. Like I said, we use a burn down chemical, which is Roundup and Sharpen usually. And then whenever we plant it, we use Roundup and Dual. And then at the 5 leaf stage, we come up with Halix GT and Atrazine. And then additional, if needed, if we start clean, we usually stay clean. And it reduces the pigweeds in my soybeans. Row water using polypipe and groundwater based on the crop needs. Because I'm beside the Arkansas River, that's what I say. 2014, whenever I started farming, I had 400 acres of corn. I'd bought all my polypipe, but I never laid the first row. And it saved me a lot of money. And I had good yields. It's weekly during dry weather, and the last watering occurs at black layer. Fungicides and insecticides only when needed. We scout and have it sprayed, and if we do have to spray it, it's Quadris and Headline when it tassels. Harvesting, I don't have grain bins, so I have to let it dry in the field, which is sometimes it's a hassle, and we haul it directly to Oakley's. And if we cut the stalk low, it seems like it's easier to deal with. It makes our stubble management easier. And then my yields are my average is like 195. And then that's a video, but we don't have internet. So. And there's my little boy. Everybody says he must have seen a John Deere. Y'all got any questions?
Questions for Kristen?
Question about the litter. You're putting your litter out in the fall, and what are you rebedding with? A roller or a stubble? I mean, a better roller or?
Displayed hippers. 12 row display hippers.
And why do you only put out 1 ton in the fall? Is that enough? Like, could you put out more in the fall and
get by with just litter? Or
Uh,
are you losing your nitrogen?
yeah, we just put urea out for the nitrogen so that you won't get all your nitrogen out the first year. So we use urea.
The corn, is that all behind beans?
Corn, beans, and then rice.
You said,
Or beans, corn.
you said
and
you're
rice.
testing your litter and then determining P and K. Are you testing like every load of litter or how? are
We
you-
get the samples from the guy that delivers it.
Okay.
We get his testing and then we take it and we just take a sample out of each load
Okay.
and take it and get it sent off.
On your irrigation, do you use any kind of irrigation scheduling program or pipe planner or just?
Mm.
When you talking about 150 pound of urea, are you talking about dry product or you talking about units?
Dry product.
What kind of corn yields you make?
Between 180 to 195.
When you put your litter out in the fall, you said you cut your corn, then did you do
We-
something else before you put the litter out?
We
Didn't
cut
work
the
ground or
corn,
anything?
no.
Score, put the litter out.
And
then
rehip
bed.
the beds, yep. And we come back with a better roller right before we plant it, which we might, depending on how much the beds wash, we might come back and rehip them again. And then right before the planter goes through, we'll hip them with a better roller and match the tops down.
What would you say would be a typical analysis on an average ton of
Oh
litter?
God, don't ask me.
Or P and K, I mean ballpark?
60 and 60s.
Okay.
It's
I
pretty,
don't know.
pretty normal for most of the litter that we're getting in there.
Does it vary a lot? I mean, does your P and K vary a lot? I mean, I know I'm hearing average 60 and 60, but does it
Yes.
vary a lot
I
from
think-
load to load?
Not from load to load, it depends on the house it's
The house
coming out
it's
of
from.
and how many
Yeah.
flocks have been on it,
Yeah.
and whether it was broilers or layers.
Or in-house.
Of course, with broilers, you're typically getting better litter for row crop agriculture. With layers, you're getting more calcium in it, and typically it's not as high in nitrogen. But it's gonna depend, each load's gonna be different, but normally if they're coming out of the same house, they're gonna be real similar. But there is a big difference of how many flocks they cut on. It's probably the biggest variable in there that we see.
Are y'all seeing much boron and zinc? I keep on hearing people talking about, I ain't gotta put out zinc boron because I use litter now, and I'm not really a big agreeer with that, I didn't know.
We don't
Y'all
really
really
put up
seeing
boron, I
that?
think.
As far as zinc, we're seeing that, zinc deficiency, we only seeing that on the high pH soils, anything above 6.
Yeah.
And where we have low zinc levels in our soil. Our chicken litter really has no effect on our zinc deficiency as far as what we see. Now, we have seen, and I will say this, where we have applied litter, and this is true whether it's litter or pea fertilizer, sometimes you can enhance a zinc deficiency problem by applying that litter or applying that pea fertilizer, making that zinc deficiency show up.
Yeah.
So, it's not gonna, and it really don't have any zinc in it, the litter doesn't, but it can have that zinc deficiency show up.
Are you putting litter on every acre or just your corn?
Just my corn.
Just your corn.
What soil type are you raising your corn on, Lynn?
Sandy. Very, very. River sand.
What's your typical planting day? When do you typically try to get it planted?
Early April, like the first week of April.
So with the amount of urea that you're applying, what's your reasoning for the chicken litter? Is it just for soil health, since you're in a sandy soil? I mean, what?
Yeah, to build up the soil, to keep it built up.
With only putting that few units of nitrogen on it, and all the stars line up right, and you get a cool snap where it pollinates good, do you have any problem with it firing up early?